Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 16 of the podcast. My name is Toby,
And I'm Seth.
and we are the Swiney Bros.
We welcome you to the Swiney Bros podcast.
So, believe it or not, it's been a weekend without any football because we are on the verge of the Super Bowl. Episode 16 of the Swiney Bros will be a Super Bowl edition episode of the podcast, the first and foremost edition we've ever had for the Super Bowl. But before we jump into that, of course, we have to give you breaking news.
All right, good morning, everyone. Everyone's favorite subject, breaking news. Got a little bit of controversy today, but I'll save that for a little bit later. Today, on this February 4th, 2026, the Cleveland Browns made their head coach, Todd Monken, the former Ravens offensive coordinator. There was a lot of speculation that he was going to join Coach Harbaugh in New York, but that was not the case. He went to the Browns. Congratulations to him. I've heard a lot of mixed signals, even heard some jokes from some of my contributors saying that he's got the face down pat. So, best of luck to him. He's a very qualified man. Maybe he can turn this Browns offense where they need to go. This was a very good hire. I would have liked to have seen him playing somewhere else, but the Cardinals have officially hired Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur as their head coach, agreeing with him on a 5-year contract. Hate to see a guy like that leave an organization like the Rams, especially as good as they've done this year offensively with Matthew Stafford. But I love the hire. I think if they could get somebody besides Kyler Murray under center for the quarterback, I think that Mr. LaFleur will really be a good addition to this Arizona team. And for those of you that don't know, maybe everyone does and it's common knowledge, but Mike LaFleur is the little brother of Matt LaFleur. So, you know what kind of a coach he is. Now, to a second I really don't want to talk about, but because it was asked by Pigskin Crazy, how does Seth feel about Joe Brady being hired as the head coach as a Bills fan? You want to know what I think? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like Joe Brady. If you look at the guy's resume, he has a very impressive looking resume, but I don't like him. I would have loved to have kept Sean McDermott. Still don't understand the beef. But, you know, somebody's got to take the blame. You fire the guy that's been the best coach since the early 90s that the Buffalo Bills have ever had. Joe Brady's been calling the plays the whole time. He's still here. He gets promoted. But you got to give him his kudos. He's 36 years old. Just became the head coach of a very promising football team. If you look at his accolades, if those of you that are not very familiar with Joe Brady, from 2013 to 2014, he was a linebackers coach for William & Mary. He was an assistant at Penn State for 2015 and 2016. He worked under Sean Payton as an offensive assistant for the New Orleans Saints in 2017 to 2018. Then he went back to the college scene. He was the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach in LSU for 2019 and worked with, you know it, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. All three of those men are fantastic athletes. Then he comes back to the NFL in 2020, and he serves a season with the Carolina Panthers as an offensive coordinator. Becomes the quarterback coach for the Buffalo Bills in 2022 to 2023. Then he becomes the interim offensive coordinator towards the end of 2023. Then he was the Bills coordinator until he was hired as the head coach. So like I said, the guy's got an impressive resume, but I am not a fan. I don't like him. Hoping for the best, though. They have brought in some really nice additions to help him. Mm-hmm. So I did like some of the people that he did bring in. However, I don't know. I was fine with the current things. I hope that answers your question. Hoping for the best. Going to take it in stride and hope for the best. One of the main men I would have loved to have had out of the current options. The Raiders are expected to hire Mr. Clint Kubiak as their next head coach after the Super Bowl. But, however, a deal between Kubiak and the Raiders cannot be finalized until after the Super Bowl. So we shall see how that works out. You never know. Seahawks might write him a check that he can't refuse and get him to stay. Time will tell. Also, and I hate it when I see these because I can never find any information on extensions. But the LA Rams have given Sean McVay a multi-year contract extension. And also, they give their general manager, Les Snead, a contract extension as well. So you're going to be seeing those guys sticking around for a little while. Which, no reason to get rid of Sean McVay, especially after the season that he's had. Now we're going to get into the controversial news. And I'm not trying to be political. This has nothing to do with politics. This is just news that's relative to sports. And everybody's known that the Epstein files have come to light the last little bit with all these political bills and everything in Washington. And we have our first NFL big name that's been revealed. The New York Giants chairman and co-owner Steve Tisch has been reported in the Epstein files. I'm not really going to go into a lot of details. Some of this is kind of nasty and vulgar, and I'm not going to read it. But he did issue a statement after it was brought to light that his name was on the list. He said that he had a brief association with Jeffrey Epstein, that they exchanged emails about adult women, and they also discussed movies, philanthropy, and investments. He did not take him up on any of his invitations and never went to his island. As we all now know, he was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associating with. I'm sure you do, buddy. I'm sure you do. When asked if the league was probing the interactions between Tisch and Epstein and considering discipline from the Giants co-owner, Roger Goodell said that during his pre-Super Bowl news conference that the league was aware of the emails but had not yet advanced to the point of an investigation. You may be getting ahead of yourself on the second part, Goodell said, on the consideration of discipline for Tisch. We're going to look at all the facts. We're going to look at the context of those and try to understand that. We will look at how this falls under the NFL's personal contact policy, but we will get the facts first. Tisch's name appeared more than 400 times in documents from Friday's Department of Justice release, some including passing social interactions between the two men, and others with specific and sometimes graphic conversations about several women whose names were redacted. You be the judge, you decide. I'm going to be keeping very close tabs on this. And that's all that I have for today's segment of Breaking News.
Well, for many modern-day Americans who think it is a waste of time to study history, I highly recommend that you go back and read literature, go back and read your Bible, go back and read anything, because in the history of the world, since almost the beginning of time, powerful and very rich people do a lot of bad things. It's not very hard to figure that out, and it's no surprise when we see these things happen, and it doesn't matter if you voted for them, didn't vote for them, don't like them. Rich people typically got there not doing good things. And that is what happens when you place the value of money above everything else and you pursue it above everything else. But then again, we're just talking about football. So, take our opinion lighthearted, however you want to do it. But that is breaking news. Unfortunately, we just never seem to escape criminal news. But such is the way of life, unfortunately, in this broken world. So, anyways, listen, we had a little discussion about what we wanted to talk about for this episode. Obviously, the Super Bowl's coming up, and we wanted to do a little bit of a Super Bowl edition. And before we jump into that, I did want to notate one more coaching news, just because he was a hot pursuit for a lot of teams. And the Broncos got rid of Joe Lombardi as their offensive coordinator. Yes. And they promoted quarterback coach Davis Webb to the offensive coordinator. He was getting pursued heavily, and the Broncos said, here, let's write you this check. And so he's staying with the Broncos. Made me very happy because he's a very cool guy. If you don't know anything about him, I suggest just go do a little research. I'm very excited to see him. Even though Sean Payton does most of the play calling, I think the future is bright for Mr. Davis Webb. No offense to Joe Lombardi or anything. I just was never really a big fan. So, anyways, the Super Bowl edition, the Super Bowl rematch between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. I guess let's first jump into the history of both these teams. It is a tale of two cities, quite literally, between the Patriots and the Seahawks. The Seahawks, this is now their fourth Super Bowl appearance, and this will now be the Patriots' 12th Super Bowl appearance. So 3 times as many Super Bowl appearances as the Seahawks. Obviously, we know Tom Brady accounted for most of those Super Bowl appearances. But I guess let's go over their records, Super Bowl records. All the way back in 1986 was the New England Patriots' first Super Bowl appearance, and they got absolutely smoked by the Chicago Bears, 46-10.
Super Bowl 20. That was an interesting Super Bowl when you look at the score and the stats. I was not around then.
Same.
But here's some interesting tidbits on Super Bowl 20. It was the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots. The final score was Chicago 46, New England 10. The coach at the time of the Chicago Bears was Mike Ditka. Coach of the New England Patriots at the time was Raymond Berry. The date was January the 26th, 1986.
Not February yet.
Kickoff time was the same. It was 4:21 CST.
CST, wow.
It was played in the Louisiana Superdome.
Wow.
And the MVP was defensive end Richard Dent.
Hey, defensive end. Heck yeah. Let's see. Do you want to go over a few more pages before we jump to
Let's see. Let
Seahawks?
me
or
see
you wanna
what
jump to
year the
Seahawks?
Seahawks' first appearance was.
Wasn't until 2006.
Yeah. Okay. So we can.
So
keep
you've got
going. So we've got
4
quite
more.
Yeah.
4 more. From
So the next
Patriots.
Super Bowl that the Patriots made an appearance for was Super Bowl 31. They lost this Super Bowl. Well, this is interesting because now we're getting to get into like when I was super big into football as a young lad. You know, this was January the 26th, 1997. The New England Patriots scored 21 points and the Green Bay Packers 35. The head coach of the New England Patriots at this time was Bill Parcells. The head coach of the Packers was Mike Holmgren. The stadium, you guessed it, the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. And here's a name that everybody knows it's very well. The MVP for this game was return specialist Desmond Howard.
Ooh.
Super Bowl 31 saw the Green Bay Packers defeat the New England Patriots 35-21, marking the Packers' first championship in 29 years.
Wow.
Led by quarterback Brett Favre, Green Bay broke open a tight game with 17 unanswered points in the second quarter.
Wow.
It secured the win with a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown by, you guessed it, MVP Desmond Howard. Very cool. Very cool. Then the next appearance that the Patriots had was Super Bowl 36. The year that you were born, young Tobias. Weren't even born yet. February the 3rd, 2002. New England won 20 to the Rams 17.
St. Louis Rams.
The head coach of the Rams at the time was Mike Martz. And the coach at the time of the New England Patriots was Bill Belichick. So here we are. We're getting into
the dynasty.
it. Oh, you're not going to believe this. Is this a conspiracy? Let's see. This game was February the 3rd, 2002. Played, you guessed it, Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. The MVP for this Super Bowl was Tom Brady.
Wow.
Super Bowl 36 was the New England Patriots' first Super Bowl victory. An upset win over the heavily favored St. Louis Rams in New Orleans. The Patriots won 20-17 with kicker Adam Vinatieri scoring the game-winning 48-yard field goal as time expired, a play set up by a late drive led by quarterback Tom Brady. The game played in the aftermath of 9/11 featured intense security and a tribute to the victims and marked the beginning of the Patriots dynasty.
Wow.
So then we're going to jump forward to 2004.
2 years later.
Do
Crazy.
you got any notes you want to do on anything?
No, I just have the dates and the...
All right, so we're going to go into Super Bowl 38. This was February the 1st, 2004, with the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots. If I'm not mistaken, this was the Panthers' first Super Bowl appearance. They lost, unfortunately, to the New England Patriots Carolina Panthers 29, New England Patriots 32. The Carolina Panthers coach at the time was John Fox, and we're still on the Bill Belichick train for the Patriots. This was played at Reliance Stadium in Houston, Texas. The MVP was Tom Brady.
Shocker.
And you're going to have a common theme for this one. Adam Vinatieri's 41-yard field goal with 4 seconds to play lifted New England to its second championship in 3 years. While it took a Super Bowl record 26 minutes and 55 seconds for the first points to be scored, the teams eventually combined for 868 total yards, 481 by the Patriots. Carolina briefly moved in front on an 85-yard Mushin Muhammad touchdown reception and later tied the game on Ricky Proehl's 12-yard scoring catch with 1:08 to play. But Tom Brady calmly drove the Patriots into field goal range, aided by Deion Branch's clutch 17-yard grab. Oh, yes, I remember all these players. This is my jam. All right, now we're going to do our last one for the Patriots, and then we'll go over to the Seahawks side of things. Super Bowl 39 in 2005. Wow, what a game. What a close game. It was between the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. The New England Patriots scored 24 points, while the Philadelphia Eagles scored 21. The head coach of the Patriots, you guessed it, Bill Belichick. And here's a well-known household name. The coach at the time for the Philadelphia Eagles was Andy Reid.
Wow.
This was one of the best coaching staffs that Philadelphia ever had, in my opinion. It was a very close game. Both teams were scoreless in the first quarter. Both teams scored 7 points in the second quarter. Both teams scored 7 points in the third quarter. New England put up 10 in the fourth and Philadelphia 7. This was February the 6th, 2005. Played at Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. The MVP was wide receiver Deion Branch. Super Bowl 39 was an American football game where the New England Patriots defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 24-21 in Jacksonville, Florida, securing their third Super Bowl victory in just 4 years. The Patriots' defense was key, forcing 4 turnovers, including 2 crucial fourth-quarter interceptions, while Tom Brady threw for 2 touchdowns and running back Corey Dillon scored the go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. Wow, oh, wow. Now it's going to get a little different here. We're going to the Seahawks' first Super Bowl appearance.
First Super Bowl appearance. What a few.
This was Super Bowl 40. Super Bowl 40. The day, February the 5th, 2006. The Seattle Seahawks faced off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is very, very interesting. Something that happened during this game. So, like I said, 21-10. The coach of the Seahawks at the time was Mike Holmgren. I don't know why, but I'm just like, I don't recognize that name, and I've been scratching my head. Here's a name that everybody knows, though. The coach of the Steelers was Bill Cowher. They played at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. And the MVP for this Super Bowl was Hines Ward, wide receiver. Super Bowl 40 was played on February the 5th at Ford Field, where the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Seattle Seahawks 21-10, earning their 5th Super Bowl title. The Steelers wide receiver Hines Ward was named MVP for his performance, which included 5 catches for 123 yards and a touchdown. Now here's the interesting part. The Pittsburgh Steelers became the first number 6 seed to win a Super Bowl.
Wow. 6 seed win the Super Bowl, huh?
Yeah, very interesting.
Jeez.
All right, so that was 2006.
Now you got to fill in quite a few more pages.
Now we're going back to the Patriots. Oh, 2008. What a good year. The year I graduated from high school. Did I say that out loud? Whoops. Super Bowl 42. The New York Giants and the New England Patriots, where the New York Giants won 17-14. The New York Giants coach at the time was Tom Coughlin. The Patriots time, you guessed it, Bill Belichick. What a very close game. Here's the funny thing. Okay, you had two teams that neither one of them were held scoreless for 2 quarters. So the Giants scored 3 points in the first quarter, New England nothing. Then the Giants didn't score anything the second and the third quarter. New England was able to put up 7 points the second quarter, but they scored nothing in the third. Then the Giants was able to score 14 points to the Patriots, 7 points in the fourth quarter. This game was played on February the 3rd, 2008 at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The MVP for this game was quarterback Eli Manning. Let's see. The New York Giants upset the New England Patriots 17-14. This is crazy stat right here. The Giants ended the Patriots' perfect 18-0 season, with Eli Manning throwing the game-winning touchdown to none other than Plaxico Burress, with 35 seconds left following the famous helmet catch by David Tyree. Plaxico Burress. Man, that's a name you haven't heard in a long time. Okay. Seahawks don't have an appearance again until 2015 or 14. Excuse me.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to 2012. I'm enjoying this. I had a lot of fun doing this yesterday. Super Bowl 46. Oh, look, would you know it? It's a repeat. It's the New York Giants and the New England Patriots yet again. With the same head coaches, Tom Coughlin for the Giants, Bill Belichick for the Patriots. New York Giants 21, New England Patriots 17. This was February the 5th, 2012. Played at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. The MVP for this game was, you guessed it, quarterback Eli Manning. Super Bowl 46 was the championship game for the 2011 NFL season, where the New York Giants defeated the New England Patriots 21-17 at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Giants won on a late touchdown run by Ahmad Bradshaw, capping a game-winning drive led by MVP quarterback Eli Manning, marking their second Super Bowl victory over the Patriots in 5 years.
Wow.
Now, we're going back to the Seahawks.
One tidbit on that before the Seahawks. Just a quick little fun fact for you that I found when I was doing some of this research. Eli Manning finished his career with a winning record against Tom Brady. It was only 3-2, but 2 of those wins came, obviously, in those 2 different Super Bowls. And as much hate as Eli Manning got for the end of his career, he also ended his career with 2 Super Bowl victories, which many legendary quarterbacks have never got to do. So we always like to talk about Peyton Manning, but Eli Manning had a winning record against Tom Brady. Now, a lot of quarterbacks did that. Not a lot of NFL teams did that. So, carry on.
All right, so now we're going to get a little personal.
Gosh.
This is Super Bowl 48.
The Legion of Boom.
Yes.
We can skip it.
The Legion of Boom indeed.
I remember this game.
The Seattle Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos. Both with a 13-3 record for the season. The coach at the time for the Seattle Seahawks was Pete Carroll. Coach at the time for the Broncos was John Fox in a demolishing score of Seattle 43, Denver 8. This game was played on February the 2nd, 2014 at MetLife Stadium, the Jets Stadium. How crazy is that? The MVP for this game was linebacker Malcolm Smith. Super Bowl 48 was a dominant 43-8 victory for the Seattle Seahawks over the Denver Broncos, making the Seahawks' first Super Bowl win. The game was characterized by historic defensive performance from Seattle, which capitalized on early Broncos mistakes, including a safety just 12 seconds into the game.
I remember that.
To secure a blowout win against the high-powered Denver offense. 43-8. I want to look something up really quick on this.
That was a rough year to be a Broncos fan, especially considering, seeing your Broncos in the Super Bowl. And another fun fact, while Seth's doing research, the Broncos have a 0-4 record when they wear predominantly orange jerseys in Super Bowl appearances. which there's some more information about that later, which is why when they played the Carolina Panthers, they notoriously selected all white uniforms instead of their orange uniforms, even though they were considered the home team. And, of course, they went on to beat the Panthers.
Okay, just some notable names that was in this Super Bowl. Toby mentioned the Legion of Boom. And for those of you that are not familiar with the Legion of Boom, it was comprised of Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor.
Legends.
We also had quarterback Russell Wilson, running back Marshawn Lynch,
Crazy.
and wide receivers Percy Harvin and Doug Baldwin. For the Denver Broncos, the coach was Peyton Manning. They had running backs C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman. Not showing the wide receivers. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure Demarius Thomas and Emmanuel Wilson was on that roster too.
Oh, Demarius Thomas was definitely there.
But yeah, that was, 43-8. That's disappointing. Yes, Demarius Thomas, Eric Decker, Wes Welker,
The GOAT.
and tight end Julius Thomas. So yeah, this was a very
Offensively, we were stacked.
talented roster. Okay, now here's where the rubber meets the road. 1 year later, it's not very often that you see a team with back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. It does happen. But here we are, February the 1st, 2015, for Super Bowl 49, with none other than the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks.
Yikes.
Coaches of the time, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll. New England, 28. Seattle, 24. Insane. This was played at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. And the MVP for this game was Tom Brady. This game is famous for its dramatic finish, with Patriots rookie cornerback Malcolm Butler intercepting a pass at the goal line in the final seconds to seal the victory, and quarterback Tom Brady throwing 4 touchdowns to earn MVP honors. This Super Bowl will go down in history as "Give the ball to Marshawn Lynch! Beast mode, run it in!"
Well, so obviously in the last 11 years now, this Super Bowl for many, many people will go down as probably the most memorable. I mean, if you think of Super Bowls in the last 11 years, that's most miserable. In the last 20 years, the most memorable. I mean, it's hard not to think of this one. But a lot of people fail to recognize, a lot of people love to fail to recognize because it stirs pot and it creates a lot of internet drama. Historically, that season, as dominant as Marshawn Lynch was all year long, his weakest point all season was 1 yard or less rushes. Believe it or not, I know it's a crazy statistic, and if you think I'm lying, trust me, just go research it. You can find it. It's there. I promise you. He struggled in 1 yard or less situations, short yardage situations, as dominant as Marshawn Lynch was all year long. That was his biggest weakness. So people look back like, oh, it's the worst coaching call ever, and should have fired Pete Carroll on the spot, never ever again. But there was statistics behind it, and these coaches saw this all year long that Marshawn Lynch predominantly did. I'm not saying they shouldn't run the ball. I'm not going to create a bunch of drama and say they should or shouldn't have because it already happened. But Marshawn Lynch did struggle all year long.
It will be Pete Carroll's Achilles, though, for the rest of his.
Oh, yeah. You'll never forget it. If you think of Pete Carroll, you'll always remember that head coaching call. But
now, how cool is this to have a Super Bowl rematch? You know, at the time, it was Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll. So here we fast forward 11 years later, Super Bowl 60, and we're having a 49 rematch here with the Battle of the Mikes. Mike Vrabel and Mike McDonald.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
How cool. So before we move on from this, I do want to, this is surely a jest just for me. This is just for me being funny. But I did read this the other day, and I couldn't help but pass this on. It says Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold was asked if he run or pass with the ball on the 1 yard line with 30 seconds remaining in a game, and he said he would pass despite it being a sore subject for Seattle fans from Super Bowl 49. Well, it depends how many timeouts. How many timeouts do we have? What's the situation? Do we have any timeouts? No timeouts. I know that's a sore subject for a lot of people, but we'll say pass. However, it is fans. Kenneth Walker is nowhere near the same kind of running back that Marshawn Lynch was, and Zach Charbonnet's not going to be there, but I thought that was pretty funny.
Sam Darnold is also a quarterback.
So let me see. Let me share this little tidbit with you guys before I get too far. I wanted to share this because we're already past his era here. But some facts about the Patriots. Everybody knows that the Patriots hold the NFL record for the most Super Bowl appearances. They are tied with the Steelers for the most Super Bowl victories. And 9 of their appearances and 6 wins occurred during the Tom Brady and Bill Belichick era. Here's a nice little interesting tidbit for you. Mike Vrabel played in and won 3 Super Bowls during his 8-season tenure with the New England Patriots from 2001 to 2008. As a linebacker and occasional tight end, he was a key part of the Patriots dynasty, winning a championship in 2001 during Super Bowl 36, 2003 in Super Bowl 38, and then 2004 in Super Bowl 39.
Wow.
He also scored touchdowns in 2 of those Super Bowl victories.
Wow.
So, I thought that was a cool little interesting tidbit to share.
Absolutely.
Right now, here we're going to fast forward from 2015 to 2017. Not that far into the future.
One of the most other memorable Super Bowls in recent years.
Super Bowl 51. I don't know that I'll ever forget this Super Bowl as long as I live. This is one that will stand out in my mind for years to come. Other than the Super Bowl with the Ravens and the 49ers when the lights went out, This is probably one of the biggest ones that will stay with me and I've never forgotten. Between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, Bill Belichick takes on Dan Quinn and his Dirty Birds. The New England Patriots had a victory of 34-28. This game was played at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. The MVP for this Super Bowl was quarterback, you guessed it, Tom Brady.
Shocker.
This is crazy, okay? When you go into the halftime winning 21-3, and then you lose 28-34, you have to ask yourself, what happened? So, Super Bowl 51 was a historic NFL championship game. The New England Patriots defeated the Atlanta Falcons 34-28 in the first ever Super Bowl to go into overtime, overcoming a 28-3 deficit in the third quarter. Tom Brady was named MVP after leading this historic comeback. I will never forget this ever in my life. It was a crazy Super Bowl. Now we're going to fast forward to not 2 years, not 3 years, but the next year, 2018, Super Bowl 52. Oh, this was such a good Super Bowl for me because, the Philadelphia Eagles, at the time, their head coach was Doug Peterson, took on the New England Patriots, who was still Bill Belichick. Both teams with a 13-3 record. The Philadelphia Eagles won 41-33. I was never so happy. As a Bills fan, it was always the Patriots. And then later in life, after Tom Brady departed and Bill Belichick, it became Andy Reid and the Chiefs. So to see one of your biggest rivals lose, it was always something fantastic. 41-33 was the final score. This game was played at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the MVP for this Super Bowl was quarterback Nick Foles. Super Bowl 42 was played on February the 4th, 2018. The Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Patriots 41-33 to win their first Super Bowl. Eagles quarterback Nick Foles was named MVP, notably catching a touchdown pass in a play known as the Philly Special. What a Super Bowl that was.
Arguably, No offense to Nick Foles, because he played lights out. He won MVP for a reason. But this was arguably the worst defense that Tom Brady ever did bring into the Patriots Super Bowl history.
Now, let's see. We've got one more, believe it or not. And it's not 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later. It's one more year right next to the row. So that is 1, 2, 3 consecutive appearances back to back.
And 4 Super Bowls in 5 years.
Insanity.
It's nuts.
So Super Bowl 53. You guessed it. Bill Belichick takes on new kid on the block, Sean McVay. I remember this Super Bowl very well, too, because the Rams have been doing really well in the last couple seasons, and they finally made it to the big show. I was like, all right, we're going to have a game.
Yeah.
We're going to have a contender. Final score, New England Patriots 13, L.A. Rams 3.
Lockdown.
This game was played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. And the MVP for this game was wide receiver Julian Edelman. Super Bowl 53. The New England Patriots defeated the Rams 13-3. And this game was the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history with a combined 16 points. The Patriots' victory marked their 6th Super Bowl win and their 11th appearance in the game. The Rams had been to the Super Bowl 4 times previously. So that is a recap of the Seahawks and Patriots Super Bowl appearances, wins, losses. So this is going to be Seattle's 4th Super Bowl appearance, and they've won 1 out of their other 3 appearances. And then this will be the Patriots' 12th, and they have won 6. So they're 50%, almost 50%.
If they win this one, obviously they will lead the NFL and break the Steelers' tie for most Super Bowl victories. And, of course, we can't forget, too, as crazy as it was with the Patriots and 4 Super Bowl appearances in 5 years, Tom Brady went right back to it with the Buccaneers the following year and destroyed the Chiefs. So, technically, if you want to count Tom Brady for that, it was 5 Super Bowl appearances in 6 years, which is absolutely insane. Undisputed greatest of all time. So, after a very, very intense Super Bowl recap with 2 of the most memorable Super Bowls in the last 2 decades, I thought it'd be cool to discuss our favorite players ever from both these teams. We don't have to jump super into detail. I have more Seahawks players on my list than I do Patriots players.
Are you saying of all time or just currently?
Any. You can pick any of all time. Obviously, we're not going to be throwing people out there from 1960. I'm not going to be doing that. So if you are a fan and there's someone from the 70s or 80s or 90s that I don't mention, I am terribly sorry. I only picked this off of my personal favorite players ever. And this is just because I like them individually. It's not because I think one's better than the other one. For the New England Patriots, I only have 5 players to pick. I'll go ahead and list all of them. Of course, number 1 overall. How could I argue with it? As much as I liked seeing him duel Peyton Manning, and as the Denver Broncos are the only NFL team with a not losing record against Tom Brady, don't forget that. It would have to be Tom Brady as my number 1 overall favorite player from the New England Patriots. No reason to discuss that. And right beneath him was the man we poached from him later on in his career, was Wes Welker. One of the greatest white receivers ever.
Hey.
Talented. I mean, he was Mr. Consistent. He was Mr. Consistent for Tom Brady. He was Mr. Consistent when he was in Denver. I loved watching Wes Welker play football. He was one of my favorites. He was quick, he was shifty, he was speedy, and he was always reliable. You can't go wrong
I'd have
with
to agree with Wes Welker. He was one of the best slot wide receivers to ever play the game, and a lot of people underestimate him because he was a little guy, but
yeah.
Oh man, he tore it up.
He tore it up, man. And of course, beneath him, I have to mention the machine himself, Rob Gronkowski. I mean, one of the greatest, in my opinion, easily the greatest tight ends to ever play in the National Football League. As much as he got injured, the dude was he has really good genetics, I guess. I mean, he was always injured, it felt like, and he was still performing lights out. One of the best tight ends to ever play the game. It was always fun to watch. I mean, no offense to Travis Kelce, but I enjoyed watching Rob Gronkowski play football. And this one for your older fans, Seth will probably recognize this one. He in terms of defensive players, if you're a fan of the National Football League and you loved very, very good defenders, I had to throw in Ty Law in here.
Good name.
One of the greatest cornerbacks to play the game. He was insane for the Patriots in his long tenure with them, and I loved watching good defensive players. I mean, it's a sight to see when somebody just locks someone down, and he was lights out pretty much every season he played. I mean, the consistency he had, the numbers he was putting up, lights out. Had to throw him on there. Last but not least, the other shifty white machine, who was originally a quarterback out of Kent State, was Julian Edelman.
Crazy to think about.
Shifty, speedy. It's most of the time when you think of quarterbacks, you don't think of them being very fast, but he was insane. I mean, another small receiver, a dude who just defied odds, it seemed like, many, many times throughout his plays. He was fast, he was efficient, and he was always, I mean, that dude could fly. He still can fly. I've seen some stuff where he still plays, and he kind of still has little drills. He does drills here and there. Obviously, he retired several years ago, but I always loved watching Julian Edelman play, and Tom Brady always found him in the most uncanny of ways. I mean, it's like, how'd he get open right there? How'd he catch that ball? I loved watching Julian Edelman play. I had to put him as my fifth and final player from the New England Patriots.
Well, like you said, it's hard to debate. Wes Welker, he was one of the best slot receivers to ever play the game. Somebody that you don't really get a lot of hype about anymore, and a lot of people don't really talk about him. He didn't play very long for him, but I always was a big Danny Amendola fan.
That's true.
He was a really good wide receiver when the Patriots had him.
Yep.
You mentioned Ty Law. Ty Law was a beast. And you can't talk about Patriots players and not mention Tom Brady.
Of course.
And Gronk, of course.
Of course.
But when, you have to beg the question, if Aaron Hernandez had never been arrested and went to jail, would Gronk ever had the role that he had? That's something
food for thought
to think about. And probably, in my opinion, probably one of the best defensive players to me that New England had was Malcolm Butler.
Solid.
He was a heck of a cornerback.
Solid.
And a big, big asset to that team for sure.
Without a doubt.
And, Bill Belichick, one of the best coach ever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even though for some reason he's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that blows my mind. But I tell you what, Mike Vrabel has the makings to have a dynasty run like he did.
Without a doubt. And obviously, you're more than welcome in the comments down below to include your favorite New England Patriots players of all time. If there's someone that you didn't hear that you would like for me to know about, I'd love to talk about them. For the Seahawks side of things, these are very well-known names. We've already talked about them. It's not hard to mention through these. I'm just going to list these off. The Legion of Boom, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. I mean, how can you think of legendary Seahawks players without those immediately coming to mind? And, of course, right there beneath them, Marshawn Lynch. One of the most entertaining running backs you'll ever watch play the game. I mean, before Derrick Henry, we had Marshawn Lynch, and it was insane.
Isn't it amazing how far Buffalo trash goes? People at Buffalo just seem unnecessary and throw away how well they succeed and
a lot of regret there, surely. Surely a lot of regret. Last few, he did not... I know he's had a lot of controversy in his career, and people said he should have retired already, but come on. Russell Wilson, when he was at the Seahawks, was a pretty dang good quarterback. MVP caliber quarterback. I loved watching Russell Wilson. I loved using him in Madden because he was so speedy. I mean, Russell Wilson, as much as I didn't like him in Denver, and he's had a lot of bad stints since his left Seattle, Russell Wilson has to be listed on here. I mean, insane. Arguably the greatest quarterback Seattle has had. Maybe Sam Darnold's going to put his name up there if he can win him a Super Bowl too. And just the last few, Bobby Wagner. For those who don't know, Bobby Wagner played, I think, 10 or 11 seasons for Seattle before moving on. And he's obviously a long-standing NFL veteran. But, I mean, when you think of the Legion of Boom and you think of statistically strong defensive players, you can't forget Bobby Wagner before all of that. He was incredible at Seattle. Loved his time there. He was a beast, obviously. Sean Alexander let's talk about running backs. I know I talked about Marshawn Lynch, but come on. I mean, if you remember the early Madden days, the dude made a Madden cover. Sean Alexander was incredible. He broke records for the Seahawks. I have a little fun fact about that a little later. He broke records for the Seahawks. He was the one and only Seattle player at the time to. Well, let's just jump into it. Why not? Let's just talk about the records really quick. He set a franchise record with 1,880 yards on the ground. His 88-yard long run tied his own franchise record. He had 27 rushing touchdowns, which tied the NFL record at the time. And his 28 total touchdowns was the single season record. And he was the first and only MVP in franchise history. He was pretty dang good. And Marshawn Lynch was pretty dang good, but Marshawn Lynch
arguably the best running back the Seahawks have ever had, in my opinion.
And the last but not least, even though he didn't have as many accolades, I had to throw in DK Metcalf in there because his time in Seattle was nuts. I mean, he was a beast. He was like if LeBron James played football during his tenure instead of everyone was like, dude, this dude athletically, he didn't do a whole lot of stuff, but I mean, he was elite. And I'm not saying he's not good now, but I mean, you watch him. I mean, this dude, one of my most favorite NFL clips of all time is when he gets picked off of the end zone and DK Metcalf chases him all the way, the full field of the length, and tackles the dude. I mean, pure athleticism is crazy to watch. He's an awesome athlete, so I threw him on there. And last but not least, I had to go with Mr. Consistent, the dude who never got any love and any credit for anything he ever did in Seattle, except the great fantasy football points he gave up, was Tyler Lockett.
There you go.
The legendary veteran. I feel so bad. The dude leaves Seattle. Now they're in the Super Bowl.
The way the cookie crumbles.
Unfortunately, the cookie does crumble for Mr. Tyler Lockett. But he was, if you want to place a someone you want your kids to look up to and think like, oh man, like that's, I want to model myself after. Dude always worked hard, never complained, never said a word. He was always consistent, always showed up, wasn't injured, and he's just a great guy. So, last but not least, Tyler Lockett.
Well,
kudos to you.
Like Toby said, you can't talk about the Seahawks and not mention the Legion of Boom. They were the dominating defense for many years, and they set the bar as far as defense goes. And Seattle's always had a good defense. You know, they've got a good defense now. They're not Legion of Boom defense, but they set the bar.
Absolutely.
I would like to give a shout out to Matt Hasselbeck. I'm just joking. That guy was a loser. He was not nothing to talk about.
Rage bait. I'm gonna clip that out of context and post it. Shout out Matt Hasselbeck.
Oh no, but I will say somebody that I'm really surprised that Seattle ever got rid of was Jimmy Graham. They didn't draft Jimmy Graham. The Saints drafted Jimmy Graham, and then they ended up acquiring him. He played for them for 2 seasons. He was a really solid tight end. I really liked Jimmy Graham.
He was.
I thought he was going to have a good career there. You already said Sean Alexander. I was going to mention him too, but you pretty much hit the nail on the head there with that one. He was arguably, in my opinion, the best running back ever. I don't know that the Seahawks will ever have another running back of that caliber, but something that the Seahawks have always had, they've always had good wide receivers. You mentioned Tyler Lockett. He was on my list too. But you can't not mention Joey Galloway. And you cannot not mention Doug Baldwin.
Of course.
You know, they were 2 fantastic wide receivers. And, you know, somebody that they've got right now is Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yep.
Second season in the NFL and just making waves, just tearing it up. Tearing it up. So, yeah, you know, this is going to be very interesting Super Bowl.
I will say, on the top of wide receivers, yes, we know this is a long episode, but it's a Super Bowl edition. We got to have a little fun. The wide receiver position is my favorite position in the NFL. So seeing a good wide receiver like Jackson Smith-Njigba this season is just so fun to watch, and it brings me a lot of happiness because I love the wide receiver position. I think it is one of the most talented positions in the NFL other than defensive back and quarterback. A good wide receiver is just so fun to watch. I mean, I will take a 40-yard pass touchdown over a 90-yard rush touchdown any day of the year. It's just so fun to watch, and I hope we get that. I hope we get that in the Super Bowl. But either way, now what I put all of my research and effort into, Seth's, was the Super Bowl stanza. I decided to poach and reword and grab a lot of fun facts about this Super Bowl.
Cool.
Fun facts about the Super Bowl, fun facts about the Seahawks, fun facts about the Patriots, some potential record-breaking, everything all in one. So instead of one fun fact, you're getting like 30 today. But I'll just fly through all of these, nothing crazy. Starting off, the Seahawks have only 3 active roster members with Super Bowl experience on their current team.
Wow.
Wide receiver Cooper Kupp, linebacker Ernest Jones IV, and cornerback Josh Jobe. Only once.
Wow.
Patriots offensive coordinator, we've never said his name before, Josh McDaniels can become the most decorated player/coach in franchise history with victory, as his 7th ring would help him surpass both Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Wow.
The Patriots and Seahawks will meet in a rematch of their Super Bowl 49, becoming the 10th pair to rematch in the biggest game of the year. The Steelers and Cowboys did it 3 times. The Dolphins and Redskins did it. The 49ers and Bengals, the Cowboys and the Bills, the Patriots and Giants, the Patriots and Eagles, the Patriots and Rams, the Chiefs and 49ers, and the Chiefs and Eagles. Super Bowl rematches usually favor the original victor, with those teams going back-to-back 66% of the time with a 6-3 record. Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald and Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel would become the 3rd Mike versus Mike head coaching matchup in the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Mike Shanahan's Denver Broncos beat Mike Holmgren's Green Bay Packers. Mike McCarthy's Packers defeated Mike Tomlin's Steelers. And I got cut off, and I don't see what the last one was. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is right. That's the 3rd one. They'll be the 3rd one. So, and another defensive fact, Seattle and New England both ranked within the top 5 in points scored per game this season, and points allowed per game and point differential. So as much as we've hyped up the Seahawks defense, the New England Patriots have had a solid defense. This Super Bowl is the first since the 1970 NFL-AFL merger between teams that both ranked top 4 in scoring offense and scoring defense.
Wow.
Drake May is the 2nd youngest starting quarterback at 23 years and 162 days in Super Bowl history, being older only than Dan Marino, who was 23 years old and 127 days old.
Goodness.
New England's 26 points allowed through 3 playoff games are the fewest since the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, who only allowed 20 points. Sam Darnold has played for 5 different teams, making him the 3rd NFL quarterback to start a Super Bowl for his 5th or more than 5th franchise. NBC is reportedly charging roughly $8 million for a 30-second commercial this Super Bowl.
Good night.
This will be the 6th Super Bowl that NBC's Chris Collinsworth has called as a broadcaster, and the 5th involving New England.
Wow.
Mike Vrabel is the first person to represent the same organization as a player and a head coach in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, if he wins, he'll be the first person to win a Super Bowl as a player and as a coach.
And the most weird fun fact out of all of these, the Seahawks have reached the Super Bowl as the number 1 seed in the NFC 3 times since 2000, all within 1 year of a new pope being selected.
Wow, that's odd.
So I don't know if the Seahawks are Catholics, but maybe they're getting a little divine intervention from Pope himself. So that is all of the fun facts I have compiled for you for this Super Bowl appearance between the Patriots and the Seahawks. It's going to be a lot to clip later, but that's okay.
Super Bowl 60. Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots at Levi's Stadium, home of the San Francisco 49ers. This is a very well-known arena for the Seattle Seahawks. So, Toby, who's going to win? Who do you got? Who's your money on for the Super Bowl champions?
Well, I am not joining I was laughingly joking about it when I watched the Patriots and the Seahawks both play last time around in the championship game, the NFC and AFC championship game, respectively. And I said if the Patriots played the Seahawks at that time, they would have got blown out. And they would have at that time. But guess what? That was a while ago. So now we're in the Super Bowl. Both teams have had plenty of time to prepare. Both teams have had time to see whether or not ghosts are going to be in the stadium. So who would I pick to win this game? It's not a question. Give me the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know, man. I think the Patriots, Drake May in his playoff tenure has looked uncomfortable at times against better defenses. The Broncos really unsettled him. The blizzard conditions probably didn't help in the second half of the game. But, I mean, the Seahawks have looked insanely good. The Patriots have looked good, but they've looked sputtery at times. The Seahawks have left no doubt in my mind. If the Seahawks lose this Super Bowl, it's either because they beat themselves or the NFL's rigged.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
So,
Seattle, New England, two very prominent teams. And however, it has been the Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels show. And the New England Patriots are ready, willing, and Vrabel to play this game. However,
oh my gosh,
I have to go with Seattle as well.
Oh,
And let me tell you why.
Oh.
Let me tell you why, okay? Like Toby said, I know conditions had a little bit to play in the AFC Championship game with the snow, but Denver's defense rattled the Patriots. Even with the backup quarterback being in for Denver, they only lost by 3, okay? When you look at Seattle, they have a killer defense. And I think that offensively, they're just more of a well-oiled machine. They have more weapons. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Applause. They have utilized both of their tight ends whenever they need to do so. Like you said, they got Cooper Kupp. He's been here before, so that's going to help as far as the jitters goes. He's not been as big involvement this year as he has in years past, but he is a go-to guy that you can go to in a crunch situation.
Yep.
They were running the ball very well with both running backs. However, they don't have Zach Charbonnet. But Sam Darnold is the veteran here. Like you said, he's been on 5 different teams. He's been in a lot of offensive schemes. He's been around. He knows the game. And I just think that the defense for Seattle is going to keep New England at bay. And not taking away from New England's defense because they have a good defense this year as well. But I think that Seahawks just have more in their arsenal to deal with this team.
I agree. And it's like I said, it is absolutely no shade to the New England Patriots. I mean, what Mike Vrabel has done, what Drake May has done at 23 years old it's incredible. It's no feat to shake your head at or criticize. It is incredible. But just like I predicted last episode, if Bo Nix wouldn't have got hurt, the Broncos would be in the Super Bowl right now. And I truly believe that. I really do believe that. And when we watched the Bills and the Broncos in the AFC Championship game, it kind of feels like this for me with the Patriots. The Broncos, when they were getting interviewed, they were like, last year when we played the Bills, we were just happy to be here because they were a young team. They did a lot of good things, but they also were kind of inconsistent at times, and they got destroyed by the Bills. And again, it was fantastic. I mean, Bo Nix came in, the Broncos made it. I feel like it's kind of the same thing with the Patriots. It's kind of like it's cool to see them here. They're happy to be here. But the Seahawks just feel like a much better team. And, of course, anything can happen. Like I said, rigged aside, I mean, emotions happen. It's the Super Bowl, dude. I mean, we haven't been in it. I mean, any nerves you're going to experience in your career is going to be the most intense. And they've only got 3 people on the roster with Super Bowl experience. So, I mean, I get it. But I do really think that the Patriots are starting the right trend. I just don't think they're on that same level as the Seahawks. So I would. But hey, I just want a good game. I don't want another Seahawks 43-8 over the Broncos. I would like to see that, but I would much rather have a good game because the Seahawks and the Rams was a great game, and I would love to see that for this. Do I think it's going to happen? No.
I would love to see a battle of wills, and it's just everything is just boom, boom, back and forth, back and forth. Just when you think one team's got the edge, here comes the other team. That's what I want to see.
And Seth and I have never done this in the history of the podcast, but I thought it was very appropriate for this. What is your score prediction?
Oh, I knew I was forgetting to do something.
We've never done this. And I thought, of course, it had to be appropriate for the Super Bowl of all things.
Give me just one moment, please.
All right. Well, while the Jeopardy music plays in the background, I will give you my score prediction because I've thought this early on, and I'm still going to stick true to it. I think it'll be a close game in the first half, and I think Seattle will run away with it. My final score prediction is Seattle 35, Patriots 17.
Whoa. Dang. Wow. Was not expecting that.
Part of me wanted to say 42-17, but the Patriots do have a good defense. So,
All right, I'm going to go a little lower than that. I'm going to go Seattle 27. And I'm going to go New England 21.
so you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. 35-17 and 27-21.
Who do you got for MVP?
MVP. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Kenneth Walker.
Well, normally it goes to the quarterback.
It normally
9 times out
does.
of 10.
It normally
But I'm
does.
going to have to say score of 27-21 MVP Jackson Smith in Jigba.
I could easily see that too. The only reason after watching, the Patriots and their consistent defense, I think they're going to put so much emphasis on shutting down JSN in that pass game. Not that doesn't mean they won't be successful in doing so, because JSN's the hardest dude to guard in the NFL. But Kenneth Walker, man, like last time against the Rams, he was cooking some dudes. And I when you watch like determined football players, you could see it in his eyes. Like, I don't know if you watched any of the replays, you could just see it in his eyes. He was hungry and he was bulldozing people. Kind of like how RJ Harvey's played this year. Like, he was just, as soon as you were eyeing him, he was hitting you. And whether there's 5 of you or 1 of you, and he was getting a lot of yards. And he was just running. And if he does that again, this dude could drop 100+ yards, 2+ touchdowns. And to me, that would be MVP worthy.
Oh, absolutely.
But we'll see. We'll see. So, of course, now, after a very difficult time, let's jump into a more difficult topic, NFL trivia. What is your NFL trivia question?
Okay, mine is Super Bowl related.
Of course.
Big surprise. You got a 25% chance because it is multiple choice.
Heck yeah.
Which team became the first wild card team to win the Super Bowl in 1980 for Super Bowl 15? Which team became the first wild card team to win the Super Bowl in 1980, which was Super Bowl 15. Your choices are A, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, B, the Philadelphia Eagles, C, the Oakland Raiders, or D, the New England Patriots. And again, A, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, B, the Philadelphia Eagles, C, the Oakland Raiders, and D, New England Patriots.
And they won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
It was
they became
Super Bowl.
the first wild card team to win the Super Bowl in 1980, which was Super Bowl 15.
I'm going to go ahead and cross off because we've already talked about it today. I know it's not the New England Patriots. I'm going to cross the New England Patriots off. My initial gut reaction was one answer, but the more I thought about it, there's 2 answers that immediately came to mind. If both of them are wrong, that's going to be very heartbreaking. I'm going to go with the Oakland Raiders.
That is 100% correct.
Hey!
The Oakland Raiders. The 1980 Oakland Raiders became the first wild card team to win the Super Bowl, defeating the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10 in Super Bowl 15. Led by quarterback Jim Plunkett, the Raiders entered the playoff as a number 4 seed and completed an improbable run to the championship. The Raiders' coach in 1980 was Tom Flores, who led the team to a remarkable Super Bowl championship as a wild card team, defeating the Philadelphia Eagles. This was his second season as a head coach following John Madden's retirement and marking the beginning of a legendary coaching run that included another Super Bowl win in 1983 and cemented his status as the first minority head coach to win a Super Bowl.
Well,
And there you have it, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
haven't got a trivia question right since like week 2, so heck yeah. All right, well, this one is totally opposite than anything I've ever done, and I dug a little trying to find a really unique Super Bowl trivia question that I feel like some of us would know. It makes sense when you know the answer, but you might overthink it when you hear the question. So, the most expensive Super Bowl commercial ever made so far costs around $10 million. This commercial aired in 2023 by what company?
Doritos.
That is incorrect. He jumped straight onto it with the utmost confidence, and that's a good answer because Doritos has also purchased a lot of expensive Super Bowl commercials. Trust me, they've paid a lot of money in that regard. But it is the number one, the big, the bad, the Prime Day themselves, Amazon. Doritos was a very solid answer. They've spent quite a bit of money, but Amazon so far is the only company to have spent that much money.
Was that the one with the
commercial?
Aliens?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know what the commercial itself was. I did not give that. I was not given that information. It just told me what the most expensive was. But Doritos was a very good answer. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a fun fact after that because I had a bunch for the Super Bowl. But I guess after this hour-plus long episode, there's not much left to discuss other than seeing who will win between the Seahawks and the Patriots. We will be having a viewing party. Seth and I will be watching the Super Bowl if all plans go together smoothly. And of course, that means for the future of the podcast, we have a lot in store. We hear it all the time. What are you guys going to do when the football season's over? We have plenty of things in store. We have plenty of ideas. But on top of that, if we have something in store that you didn't think of or that you don't know of and that you would like for us to make a video on or talk about, let us know. And it doesn't mean that we won't take it into consideration, but we have a lot planned for the offseason. The draft is coming up in 2 months. We have a lot of things planned. Some fun little tidbits, some shorter videos, 10, 20-minute videos going over some fun things that we've just never got to explore in the podcast form. So don't you worry. There's going to be plenty of Swiney Bros content for the upcoming summertime, springtime, until the next football season. But we're not there yet because we still have to declare a Super Bowl winner. Any last words for the Super Bowl special edition?
Go Seahawks.
Go Seahawks, indeed. Well, listen. You know where to find us. You know where to comment down below. You know where to hate on us. Thank you for all the haters that love to always leave comments. You boost our algorithm every week. Our shorts have been popping off lately. So as always, per usual, a very special thank you to all of our new subscribers that have been coming in. We've been getting a lot of subscribers from our shorts feed specifically. So you guys are obviously loving them. Thank you for the views, the likes, the comments. It's been going crazy. We're nearing, believe it or not, 100,000 channel views.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild considering we've only been doing this for a few months now. So obviously, thank you so much for the continual support. If you've somehow made it here past this hour-long mark, we do greatly.
I do have one request, and I know it's rather large to get anybody to comment. Seems like it's about pulling teeth to get anybody to comment. But I would like to say thank you to all of the people that do listen to us regularly. I appreciate everybody that watches the shorts and boosts the shorts and shares the shorts, but the people that are the true fans that actually sit down and listen to us blab and talk and carry on, you are very much appreciated. And if you are one of these people, comment me on when this episode airs. Just comment me to let us know that you're a regular viewer. We hope that you guys have enjoyed this podcast as much as we have, and we hope that you enjoy the Super Bowl minus the terrible halftime show that there's going to be. God bless you guys. Till next time.
So as always, we'll see you for episode 17 or whatever the heck else comes out next time for the Swiney Bros podcast. We'll see you.